Mr. Conrad on Cobra for Kenyan and say, a year as summer abaya and the Ghana you could $140 million no. Nipa bi say Boache Jako on an year minister our share a year energy so. Now on Cobra don kono a year ne experience in politics and as a former minister no. Se minister won sa and share a year kratasi Emma aban a take decision bia e was sa wona insunsanso no e ba oje. If you say, sa contractor Ghana sign ya, sebio later ye cancel ya no, nipa na nisa krata anasino eye Boache Jako. Na Boache Jako so no na sem nyina say sebio no oye energy minister. Nanso contract na ye cancel ya ende account ana how we abeto yeso no 140 million no. Sebio nanado danko ekufuado one ne cabinet and take decision no. Enti Boache Jako say even though no ye minister of energy no ne nsa na hyase na enso ye kufuado ena sebio o share no se onfa ne nsa enhye krata na se.
Whenever I say my PENDREAM TV there, I see them yopo.
For higher PENDREAM TV in Pachos and your first time subscribe to channel no found sabo adomane to say the video be at ube first person I website. Usha video ni we send voice note mine was 0277128777 0277128777 ebebo actually Ghana for na
vacation. All right. Before I make editorial of the day, no, my main king kind the AC and Ghana for. Egigim, a grid ko for the letter bar almost say yan king kind Ghana for. Ye the munim say ye join anyone no, ye dogananti ye ya yenji obieska ye che. Grid ko for so much trouble for be. Na min church the bro for ni mu chi. Na Ghana for nyina ehun de e koso. Na grid ko no omofa omohwe enyinemu kanea ho Ghana ho enyinemu kanea ya cho no brofum ebia so abefo ntiase kwabrefo ebia eya asante achim eye mamponfo nipa bebre o Ghana ebia brofo na no den enti eye grid kufo ayikrata se menchirem menkan ne brofo na menjudwam se metuma kan nkran so a menjudwam se meka ne mfante a menjudwam ebia metuma kan no eye krobo ene French a menjudwam enti time ne do announcement a grid code abani. For immediate release, Greek focus immediate release. I'm saying minimi ya yan kind trouble. I'm saying minimi ya yan judum. Any of an immediate release. Any minimi ya mama fan kwa bontrena ni pante. Ya o kin kan bi na immediate release. I say and minimi ya. Any minimi ya yan fan kwa bontrena. Any of an immediate release. Corporate Communications Ghana Great Company Limited, PO Box, blah 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 blah, October 26th, 2023. And then you no omano asem egu krata so. I'm saying minimi ya yankin kan chiremu. Power supply challenge. Asem no krata no, asem pa e wasro no. I'm say bibi a friend power supply challenge. I'm say inyiremu kanea eye enyirimu kanea no eye ne nchicheye anase eye senia munya no eye ansem kakre bi aba ho ye challenges benyama du pu omnsem ye gina bebro baby bebra chibi me no ka say kwa me ata okuta paper ikabe ye ntem kabe ye ntem na yenkoda na si e show die da bi o ye nya abotre bi wote abrochire ai nyansafo ne die so inti light no egina so se mo si ni bibi ko buta tahiru. Power supply challenge. Eye nyirimu kanea omode maye no. Eye wentwi kakra eni nyoma emu odin kakra bi aba ho. Into omo se menkenkan. The Ghana Great Company Limited, GRIDCO, the operator of the National Interconnected Transmission System, NITS, informs the general public that due to limited gas supply to Tema, there will be a supply gap of 550 megawatts at peak time. GRIDCO for say, omo eneshe enyinemu nkania ne kasiyo a omo ma ECG nkania ne bi mo de maye ewo yemfiefiem. Na nde asema omo de abetu dwane se, yenka nkyere Ghana for say, eye enyinemu nkania na yede ema mo no efiri omo hokọ ECG wa ebeba ufie no, omo se BBSC na de esiri nyina ne se, eye enframaja aye friend gas. Osamuti ase se inframaja enne ma enyinemu kanea. Into your friend gas. Almost say inframaja. sebio efri Greek ho eba tema matema chechema Ghana nyina eye ECG no omse sisi aye kese eye inframaja eye gas no eye broni beka bibi ti se eye 550 megawatts inframoja ne kese mu a eye 550 megawatts no sisi amom de ye king eswa shorto enti ye ka bibi se peak time ye bibi a friend prime time ena obetuma ka say a peak time into almost say amen omo no ka say dem from no akofom ojam frama. Thank you very much Jennifer Baden Young otitwi cheme ojam frama anam from eja ojam frama na de into almost say no ojam frama eye gas na eba no de matema no gas ne so ate 550 megawatts enti emra enkania hiamo pa no enkania no de so bete jire we am do agigim unia nufo ko sankranfo nyom shege unia nufo o ko sankranfo nyom ka me o shege oniko o ma ni ba no seme ka meme nenseme o shege ai uni chest o ko sankranfo nyom unim nyansa obebu mai mo de munim de eba intom se mframaja anase ojam frama no eswate intesia no ye ka bibi prime time emra mo benya kanea de aye munjuma edi munjuma no sa mra no munya kanea omko second paragraph omo say this will affect power supply to consumers in some parts of the country. Almost say, Ojam Framana says, Swati a Omunya, Enfama Tema, Emma ECG Mam Caniano, a Bema Dumso, Astati, Enimia. Immediately release. Enimia. Intesiano, almost say, Dumsaba. Ojam Framano Swati. Ninian so many sicom de Betobi. Enti Tesiano, Yejinem. Dumso Abba. Now, quote a third paragraph or say the inconvenience caused is deeply regretted. And the before that 1930. You can say the inconvenience caused is deeply regretted. That some say mupu Dumso ni mudem. Sa brofo de mama ne nya obibia. Say the inconvenience caused is deeply regretted. Et says sebio obi eja ne nan wo hwegu ho. Na waka say oh we dey sorry. No ada no ho kofie. Toilet le gu ho no e wo na also dealing with it. Ebi brofo no nhyada ntiase. So obi tro say the inconvenience caused is deeply regretted. Et say obi sebio we eja ne nan gu krabem a wo twem oni fie na wo hwie ne gu ho. O say oh bra sorry why. We dey man hyada owie no adane no ho akɔhye fie opese o kire wo se toilet le gu hu no wow problem into the inconvenience the regret the mema no to trim opese o kire wo se si adum so aba into tutu nyoma yie shege ka di o teke lo tibo o mami o ka but say egnatim inti omo say si adum so aba into afa ne ye be kire nsem nim hye wo de unim de ko ye kire ma wodwa na me ko cheche mu njira hwan ya kirem obi atere ho ase dum so aba egigim na moma yenko enne asam no so uni nufuo unufuo nketenkete se obo ase anka awo okosa nkranfo asa obodam onufu susa obesa nkranfo asa nkranfo asa ye chest na sa shogbe wajimi ubebu man bra mo bebre no munim de ko okay ende yabeka inyirim kanea ho asem yete ya ne yabeka kire se Ghana sesia no yabetua judgment debt of $140 million ediama eye adwumakuo bia no ne Ghana edi insawoso tama John Mahama ban NDC ti so no sebi odum so ba ye no omo any company bibre esensan nkrata ema yenya inyirim kanea dodo a ende sebi Ghana dum so making nkwasiafo ntumi hweso nti ede asa de ne ho aba na tama Mahama mufri aban mu no MP before ba ya no se dabi san enjumakuo ya omabo ma Ghana enya inyirim kanea ebi ebuso no san inyirim kanea no osom fam ho adwene no mu omo faso enti nkrata ana contractor omo ne Ghana ban san no MPP aban that time na eye obi a friend Mr. Jako ono na eye energy minister ema asese na omo yo ho adwene se ombe bu company ni bi faso ama companies ni bi akọ abrochire ingresi e de omo ano asem ene asem eye omo ye no akodi court mende court say Ghana eye oman Ghana ye bumra so ye ndi ye contract so ye ne afa no ya nhyeda endi so ya nka no kore enti eye sa adwumakuo no omombra embeje $140 million na abrochire court ejuju asem no omo se Ghana fo enya sika na ntua ye nyapade e wa abrochire ba ko mienu miensa enan ye commission no bibia papa wuso ankomaten bibia kwaje visa o UK no omo de bema eye company no intimino ka say Ghana deka $140 million. Now why ne cause the problem we? How did we get here? Who caused this judgment debt? Who should be held liable? Nipa ben ne osie so mudua eka se mo na makobo sa aka we ya begu yeso boy you misika na saying 56 million Ghana. So 56 million Ghana waje that be normally your politics. Yeah, why you me ogba show me o boboke I say enkran for yin bieka why you misika na 56 million and sankwasi afo you say why you me 140 million. Na mumye njujum den na we bae hwan na betua me ne wo na betua me ne wo ene otumfo ene ya na ene togbe afedi ene ne kromfo ene achemfo hene ene de enkranfo me krom fantefo ahemfo ye na betua sankwase sika we what wo busame. Now mamencho YouTube, I want 1K likes right now. If you're on YouTube, make the likes 1,000. Then let's move on. Maybe likes not check and it's 903. Let's make it 1K and move on. We are big. All right, now, Mami Church the Munchamo. Inti sorry and never tia same way. Egigim nyabu trini tie me. Say I'm far phone calls right, okay, but me person me Ghana for etunye koso Ghana. How dangerous this government is. I was saying you pay biko efiase. Yes, sorry, I no pay na eye papa be your friend of Mr. Kobradonko or your former energy minister or NDC abaimu or the no assembly abeto abonten na no asem no na opachire. Kobradonko say eye GPGC judgment debt for properties no longer subject of possible sale. Now, the akosi nyina say eye GCPG DNDN for mko abruchire no Mr. Kobradonko na oye former energy minister no ono so akasa na ne kasa yimu no o kire se eye ye japade a ende ye de kosi awawa eye Ghana for ye ntumi ntuaka eye ye japade ni bi o se ton bi ebi wa ye ntumi nton no o wona no asema o ka o se e wo se omo a omudi ye nimu mpenifo a na omudi ye nyam nkanea ene ye energy nanim no e wo se sa mpenifo no mo ye den ye so omudua obi ti say Mr. Ejako ana oye minister of energy those times no momientie Mr. Kobradonko anu asem. 1
defaming or insulting the president.
Ghana in 2015 entered into an agreement with power producer Ghana Power Generation Company GPGC for the provision of a fast-track power generation plant. This was at the time the nation was experiencing energy crisis. Following a change in government in 2017, a decision was taken to terminate the agreement since the nation risked spending more on power it did not require. The company dragged government to an international arbitrator who ruled that the termination was unlawful. GPGC has since been trying to enforce a $140 million judgment debt by seeking to sell major properties belonging to Ghana located in the United Kingdom. This includes the Regina House, which houses the Ghana International Bank in London. Former Power Minister Dr. Kwabena Donko had publicly stated that the former Energy Minister Boakye Jaku had questions to answer. Boakye Jaku has issued a statement arguing that the decision to terminate the deal was one taken by Cabinet, but the Pro East Member of Parliament is still not impressed.
He signed a letter of termination. Any minister has responsibility for what he signs. The committee members are not here to tell us what he informed. In any case, advice has always never been binding. Advice remains advice. You take the ultimate decision. It is your responsibility.
He wants a probe into the matter.
First of all, I call for 2 inquiries. The president might institute an internal inquiry to unravel what led to this. Cabinet is advisory to the president. Then at the level of the legislature, since the decision to terminate was taken by the executive arm of government, it is the legislature that has oversight responsibility over the executive. We also have to set up an inquiry.
Ghana's High Commissioner to the United Kingdom meanwhile says it is working with the Finance Ministry to ensure that the debt is paid to avoid the sale of the properties.
Mr. Kobradonko bro for Kenyan say eye asema abeya and the Ghana yekutua $140 million no. Nipa bi say Boakye Jaku one na ye minister a ohwe eye energy so. Na ono Kobradonko no eye ne experience in politics and as a former minister no se minister won sa ene hye eye kratase ema aban take decision bi a wo se wo na insunsuanso no eba oje efiri se sa contractor Ghana sign ya sebio later ye cancel ye no nipa na ne sa hye krata na se no eye Boakye na Boakye Jaako so eyi ano no na asem nyina ne se sebio na oye energy minister nanso eye contract na ye cancel ya ende account ana how we abeto yeso no 140 million no sebio eye na adodanko Ekufuado one ne cabinet and take decision no enti Boakye Jaako say even though no ye minister of energy no ne nsa na hyase nanso Ekufuado ena sebio o share no se onfa ne nsa enhye krata na se ma yen cancel contract no ena Mr. Eye Donko eka se sebio we minister na sa wo nsa hye krata asia eye wasede se ehon sunsanso bi ebeba no elso wo ena ye totowa no wo ena wo se ye twewase na eye Mr. Donko kasa no se even se okose onsa ko hye krata ase ana ye be sign contract na se ebia attorney general Krampo bibi a friend advice and asa odi efutuo eka se Mr. Minister o kwa akotwa krata we o kwa sign contract we attorney general Dwumadi en se e wo se odi na dwenkyere ma wo se oh eye contract akosani e de how beba ana emfa how beba how emfa how mba inti up to you the minister to decide say attorney general advice no de ma no ya na say enye binding enye chinchine a attorney general to me show say contract no sign ana say men sign it inti say advice bi kura ba every the attorney general up to you the minister to make sure say what should contract akọ sign no make sure say legislature parliament so ehumu trodo ansa na ya jatum nanso Boakye Jaako no ye hwehwe nsem no mu a ono ena ne nsa hyase na ende ye busa Boakye Jaako say wona won nsa hyase o 140 million emredu na ye toto nkofo ano na ye panipa atweoma se akɔhye efiase a e wo say make sure say anasa wo hu say wanhwa a wo hu bebon mu wanhwa a obekɔ efiase ende Boakye Jaako enso ne kokɔ apai Boakye Jaako sorry ya orosa trokrata tin chirem adekudie ntia komna donko asem wo ka no enya asem a e wongyina so efrise ono so wa asem ka hey the dust has settled dust na settle inti abekinkan nsem a Boakye Jaako enso etoma komna donko toma Ghana fo se ono na emom na oye minister no nanso de komna donko ka no eni ngyina so owo nchirechiremu yen kan Boakye Jaako nchirechire mu no na afa yen starting free baby a asem we free ba ye wi a na ehu nipa a o se so ne pa Boakye Jaako chro ne letter no say ena ode beto abontene Boakye Jaako agigim ne letter no de dia enkan letter we say na Boakye Jaako chro ne letter no ene ne nchirechire mu for immediate release o say ni menim ya yen kan immediate release dia ohu a so I'm for some TBB I say immediate release say ni ya yendwum enimeni ya mama hyehyehye yendwum into ono so de atro immediate release immediate dia say enimeni ya yendwum Boakye Jaako letter de emi wom ono so de brofo de oboa otwe de space to ankwase akeka nkwa nti o se nya abotre ne kenkan so I'm for brofo de mu pi nti munya abotre na menkenkan kyerɛkyerɛ mu na menkyerɛ me bia asɛm no ɛwɔ mo bia nda wo enyiramu kan o se dum so aba enda ne ebehu bia dum so no free ene de be mo ati ase MPP o mabodam o magimi o ntumi ndi Ghana so ya ka kyerɛ mo ensema ya kan wa nyina akade de Japan ti ase o on saje mo we technical dodo ono on ti ase oro ejimi ono abodam esi ameke wada baba no opunu to ai wada punu to wo ho ono saje mo ono street politics ai na ma menche kyerɛ mu nkyerɛ. My attention has been drawn to some very unfortunate an ill-informed statement by Honorable Kobna Donko on the termination of the GPGC Power Purchase Agreement. Also, what tia sembi on framing free Dr. Kobna Donko wa ohun say Kobna Donko no and some no kan kura on tiasie on shada enti in some no was tiasie say Kobna Donko or your former energy minister baby a Ejako tran no what na hopping and so Ejako say what is senyoma bi won framing ma ono ohun say Kobna Donko asmo kan no ebia sebi asem no kan on tiasie enti obedwudwam ma Kobna Donko atene ho ase. I deem the utterances most unfortunate and irresponsible coming from a former minister who ought to know that it is not within my power or province or that of any minister to unilaterally cancel or terminate a contract of this nature. Or see, opposite come na don kwoti ase. Say any eye ne powers anase oni ho kwan. Anase oni ehu akwenye bia se oya minister no owo sa akwenya na ana owo tumi say contract sa e say GPGC for contract no ono ebetumi etwam. Or say ono as a minister no opese come na don ko any Ghana 40 as say oni sa tumi no oni sa akwenya no bibia ni na dwuma ho a kire se o tumi a e wo se contract aban asan no otumi twam. Yanko enim. Upon assumption of office, the newly elected NPP government decided to take all the necessary actions to contain the cost of power generation and distribution in Ghana. It became necessary to review the implementation of the many power purchase agreement, that's the PPAs, because should all of them be implemented as originally scheduled, it will result in the production of excess energy with its attendant cost, which would worsen the financial situation of the power sector. The review was therefore to help cut back on losses that would be incurred. Or see, time MPP are buying eba eye aban 2017 a omo G eye tumi no. They see and say, omo tena ase ehun say eye contractor MDC for assign ye a eye dodo no omo tena ase hu say contractor NDC asensan edoso na ama sebio eye enyiremukania ahoɔden no yenya dodo excess power osini yenya enyiremukania dodo no we have gotten too much power. If you say NDC for sign contract bebrea na amaye enyiremukania no doso excess power na you too much power. And I'm dodo we ye den ense kwemu eye openye jekum me be no no me hia. Inti the NPP aban tena se ye ne say omunya abotre ena omo ye omadwene say senior eye NDC sign contract bebre ama sebio enyinam kania no ahoɔden no egina so dodo na ebi ebusu no omo hwɛ se so omo anhwɛ ne yie a saa sika dodo omutua ema omo ma enyinam kania no wanhwɛ asika no ebeye too much a ebema aban na bre nti omo ye omadwene say omo be pensem na omo hwehwem na sebio contractor NDC sign ye no omo betwitwa bim. One or say na omoba no na omo won kania ye won kania too much inyiremu kania na edoso or the brofo bi shall say excess power na say kania ye hia no na adoso dodo NDC for okoro omo ye so bi dum so ba no afi omo jan kania too much ye Jimmy brutal NDC for somebody do so by NDC for some be say Ghana adwuma no yes omo free power no na omo jai too much energy na nyem na mo say NDC koro omo ntuma so dum so no enkwasiafo kuo enyem na mo ka say mo free power mo ba power no na NDC for solve dum so ene de bo acheja akose time omo be di power no omo ba 2017 no na nyinimu kanea ahoɔden no wo soro do edoso na ebi kura ka chire yanko yenim inti o say adikudie ntia ema MPP aban eye na adwo so obetu anamon we no na erese omo pese omo boa Ghana sika semefri se na omo maye nyiremu kanea ni nyina no ye tua omo ka inti na nyiremu kanea ne doso dodo eni inti na omo ye omo adwene se omo betu hu anamon. An interministerial committee was set up under the chair of the Energy Commission to review the fiscal and legal implication of power purchase agreement executed by the Electricity Company of Ghana. Or say, enunti NPP aban ekufu adu die ma no oye energy minister no omuti ekuo bia ye from interministerial committee a na yesi omuntena se na omunhwehwem eye contract ene eye contractor NDC aban ne sa company si call ya senia eye ebeboa Ghana fo nti NPP aban no eti committee na nipa na oda committee na no na oye nipa bia oye adwuma wo energy commission ono a oye minister of energy no ya anya ne chairman na energy commission no yekofa obi wo ho ene obeye chairman e wo committee nim. Okay, so amefo pepe hade oba ode munya ti kakra obia beti ase an yanko yanim. Or say the 18-member committee was chaired by Dr. Alfred Ofosu Ahenkra, Executive Secretary of the Energy Commission. Or say a whole committee was put together. Na nipa na yɛde to committee na no so ɔyɛ chairman abra ɔno Ejaku yɛ Minister of Energy no ya ama ɔno anyɛ chairman na yɛkɔfa man bi abrante bi a friend Mr. ana Dr. Alfred Ofosu Ahenkura ɔyɛ Executive Secretary of Energy Commission ɔno ɛne yɛde no bɛto ɛyɛ committee na no what dey mo no problem welcome according to say its report was submitted on the 5th of April 2019 under reference ECMOE 17. Ose committee no, omo ye omo dwuma nyina wie no, omo report no omo submit no on the 5th of April 2019. Omo ba power 2017. Into 2 years after na committee and report nyina wie and omo submit ye. Yanko yenim. The report was subsequently put before Cabinet for consideration and action. Cabinet directed that the report be further reviewed by the Attorney General. This was done. Cabinet subsequently gave its approval for the recommendation of the report to be implemented. Or say, committee dia wadwuma nyina awie no, eye cabinet na Nana Danko Akufo-Addo ene ne nyansafo etena ase. Eka say eye report na omaye no de e wo so moye ne say omonsa emfa nkoma Attorney General na Attorney General enhwehwem na ohwehwem a omo wi na omo de aba ansa na omo de omonsa ahyase ye ka say cabinet a na Akufo-Addo wo ho na Alankodwo Kyerɛmanten wo ho na Kyerɛmanten na nkasa eka cabinet ho saa time no na Oslawu so te hobi na efiri yakoto te wo Mahamudu Bawumia tim sankofo ni nyina te cabinet ena omuka se mo wie report na mo mfa nkoma oba oman lawyer penyini a ye friend the Attorney General saa time no na Gloria Kufu ena ene eye Godfrey Dame ena esi eho dendendene into say cabinet e ka kire committee say ye ka say cabinet na Nana Danko Akufo-Addo ene ka kire committee say mo wie modwuma a mo mfa nkoma Attorney General na ohwehwem wie a mo mfa mra into so mo hwehwem wie o mo de bai no ene Nana Danko Akufo-Addo ede ne nsa e sha krata ase say cabinet agiatum in the committee de dwuma mo ye no Nana Danko Akufo-Addo agiatum cabinet agiatum o mo nyina agiatum yanko enim. In respect of the GPGC PPA, the report recommended the termination of the PPA with a capacity of 107 megawatts at an estimated loss of $18 million or else pay excess capacity charge of 24.9 million per annum over the contract period of 4 years. Almost say eba eye GPGC for contract ne dia eye committee ni chire pampe say yentwem efri say omohwe de ekona sika yetua no na nka osi etua 18 million a year. Nanso committee this omo tena ase no omo say Ghana for 24.9 million which omo say na nyansenim enti Akufo-Addo committee no ehye ne kete ema Akufo-Addo kenkan cabinet kenkan Akufo-Addo kan Bawumia kan Osla kan Alankodwo Kyerɛmanten kan ono Ejaku no so kan ministers ni nya tena ase kan say oh we dey no kra yentwem ai nana we dey yentwem enti omo nyina agitum say yentwa contract nim. Okay. Now, the report was subsequently now you must say this is an emergency plan with a 5-year PPE use plant, not new and high tariff. Major equipment has arrived at the Tema port awaiting tax exemptions to clear. Also, omo nyina hu say sa company no na sebio omo enjuma omo bedino omo equipment no kura na yedada. O buy o say power broso. O say excess power ho. Sebio usum abrewa bebi okwo wada de fa ho ben. O buy sa company na omo machines aye dada a omo krebi abaro na omo ma excess power. In the say no na wugina so de twa contract ma also so wagimi because say wo say sa ne nyoma nyina ya dada e de na otumi generate excess power by engina ho Ejaku na echirichirim. Now oba sewa o say Remarks from the report follows. I say report munsem no otro machiramono. And I quote, based on the 2018-2030 demand supply capacity balance and the tariff rank of the project, the full capacity of this project will be excess, resulting in estimated cost of $115.4 million within the duration of the PPA. Mame enchenyi gears wa hana menchiremo the next page no. Boacheja akonkoso no asie ho no ose. The likelihood of the plant being idle is further heightening by the fact that it is a pure natural gas fired turbine to be located in Tema where there is inadequate gas to feed it. There is therefore a high probability of the plant remaining idle even if allowed to proceed. Now the omo kanyina nsa de kudi nti omu twemu na all kan de war report no committee na adwuma omu ye ya Ekufuado cabinet e de omu nsa hye no ehye ensa hye ase no report ne kire se Ekufuado ni masem oyo ba omi anim Kennedy nim Alankash nim MPP fo nyina nim omu sa de kudi nti a emo omu twemu a na e war report me kire se eye sa company no de omu hu ye ne se eye omo machines no na ye machines a sebio ojamfrema no na enane no abra sebio na anka omo other means a anka omo betumi de abo eye nyiremu kanea na omo hu se eye sa machines na company no no sebio adwuma eye no se ye ntua wo ka anase yampe asemi amfanfa so a na sa machines no ebetuma tena wa embo adwuma na omo consider sa nyoma nyina hu se machines no even though ye nya excess power no emfa so bia ni so efi se ma ye energy a ye ntumi ntua enti omo hu ni se na ye nya power too much eni ntina machine omo hu se report mi ka se machine no emfa so bia ni so enti na omo twa contract ni na of course no see based on the decision of cabinet or see or no check Kobinadonko say, based on the decision of cabinet, I, as minister, initiated the process by informing all interested parties of this decision and requested that the decision be implemented. Or see, or catch the Ghana for say, eye nana adodankwa Ekufuado cabinet ana okahono. Omo ena sebio omo kan say, onua oya minister no. On making sure say obia oka contract nwe bia atiase Boache jako kasa te say onye cabinet minister or person kasa say the onka cabinet who, and so he's using grammar to make it look like he is different from cabinet. He is a cabinet minister, but he is using grammar to make it sound to say oti baby and a cabinet here the baby. He is part of the decision making. And they said they can Japan, you know, or Kasati say MPP no baby no baby, or MPP on. Into question I was saying, at the time I left office, the government of Ghana and GCGP consequently began negotiations to give effect to the decision to terminate. Or the time and that old free office, no. Oh, say Ghana buying any company and they could $140 million a moment. Na omu dum pempen so bia omo ba betwam contract nim. O see time na obe free office 2018 no na Ghana buying any company no omo dum pempen so na omo betwam. These are the facts which I know are available to the Honorable Minister. Signed Boache Jako. Or say asem no nukura ewomu no ena wedwudwam ama Ghana for ene Kobinadonko omonte omoho ase. Now the first question is NPP for the nka kire Ghana for say NPP for e ka kire Ghana for say John Mahama ni NDC o man so vedum so. Pe omankasa first energy minister no time omo baaye no na NDC fuja inyinimu kania hoden too much na die wo hono doso excess nkofo ya rebeka che say NDC entumi ansolve dum so and the idurachi o mankasa omo se omo baaye no na power no kura too much. Now ejako so ka kire ye say ansa na go be free office no ehwa na omo cancel contract no Ejako so esa ka kyerɛ sɛ ɛyɛ Nanado Danko Ekufuado ɛna ɔtena mu ɛde ne nsa hyɛ krataa ase ɛma ɔno ɛda ne Koliko Ekufuado twetwe no ɛma ɔmo cancel contract no nti Ekufuado ne cabinet a ɔno ɔka ho ɛna ɔmo take decision no after Ekufuado set up committee a ɔno Ejako a ɔyɛ sector minister no yɛanya ne chairman ɔse ɔbɛsɔ ka kyerɛ Ghana fo nyinaa sɛ ɔno ɛna start saa deal wei ono ena o start process we ya yede kwa akotwa contract ni mu na emom enye ono na o ma order no sebio ono na frefre edom ni nyina ma o baaye ema o ka o madwene bom se ye kotwam na time eduru so o mu twam no ne apam no enti o ka kire Ghana for se ono de onim ho hwe emom ono na starting kwan no ono na ebo ase ono na sebio o de bonwene no tu mu enti ende ya serve kwan no mo hini na wu a obi amblemu no efu se time na ye serve kwan no na ono ya pam na free kitchen ho enti ende amanfo di kwan no na se amanfo wu a ma obi amblemu no efu se on de obon kwan na se keke but Ejako analogy ena medwudwam was simple terms akire no ono de osi na or kitchen or a chief chef ono na ope nam bonyo ope eye catfish ono na pe adwene ono na pe eye den eye ofui nam ono na pe eye enam prekonam ena ode bon kwan na se na obon kwan na se no ena ode bonyo tu mu poison tumu na ɔde bɔdwunu tumu no ɛna nkwan na ɛka krama na ben no yɛ pam ne free jare ho ana kitchen ho ɛna sesia no ɔhene na di wewu ɔkyerɛme di wewu queen na di wewu impenifo tete wadi ɛyɛ nkwan na wu but ɔse ma obi amfa bibia meto no so efiri sɛ yɛ pam ne free jare ho emom ɔne ne bɔn kwan na se na ma menkyerɛw nipa also mko jail Mamenchiro, why Ejako is a liar and why Ghanaians should hold Ejako responsible. Godfrey Dame, the Attorney General, responsible. Sa judgment that way, ye kurubi and kankofu inki two almost sa. Anka ya caught the Attorney General's office to tell him to step down. Because I would name any yebetia. Na omun pese obube teki blame no. Now here near Tikrom ha. Mobi andao. Injujemuna na ekoso no. Yeti krom ha ena Boakye Ejako yeti krom ha ena ye pam Boakye Ejako no ena ye beye amewu energy minister saa time ya pam Boakye Ejako amewu ena beye energy minister na meboa amewu beye energy minister no saa time na Boakye Ejako ni ho Jane amewu kaye amewu be press conference and I'll say government terminate 11 power purchasing agreement signed under Mahama. Inti amewu be take over from Boakye Ejako no also did not shy away from the crime. Okache Ghana for say oh media ye buy no power agreement Mahama contract or signing be 11 die ye twem. Or some tia say sir $140 million you will buy 11 companies are almost because we might this is not the only judgment data the rest 11 or 9 they will also go to court and they will win. Why am I cause a problem no? Now so already amewu time or buy energy minister after your pam Ejako. This or these are the words of the amewu. In a press conference on the 20th of September 2018, amewu ka sembi mumientie no. Like one statement by the Minister for Energy, John Peter Amewu, at a press conference organized by the Ministry of Energy. Now mumientie the amewu eka no press conference na say na minjudwo mu nkyere mu. Ade Ghana ta obi bia clear. Now so who read amewu na yina the press conference na. There was a part which was quite interesting. Yeah, give me the what the heck is happening here? All right. Now, Ugwidi Amewu and I say open follow Amewu press conference and say Amewu kan. So go to page 2. You will be publish Amewu press conference no. Ebi amu refi. Na mako kenkan. Na mo hu de oka wo mu. Oko page 2 of the press conference now. Say no Troy. Power sector financial and legal burden arising from over contracting of excess capacity. Almost say yes ikasem hu tutuye bi nsensem bia ebobo ba no say omo cancel contract bia mahama den eja eto ho. Now I say we amewu anu asem. Ladies and gentlemen, as at the end of 2016, ECG had signed 14 power purchase agreement which were operational with combined capacity of 1,104 megawatts. Another 18 PPAs signed by ECG with a combined capacity of 6,000 megawatts, and 8 PPAs with under discussion with total capacity of 2,116 megawatts. This in addition to existing generation capacity from hydro, the VRA plants at Abuade and Tema. Now, almost say Tema MP NDC was so dumso hiti no. Amewu say NDC abayin sane contract bebre and contract no na ochichi machire no or say company bia omoye a year 18 NDC any almost sign a contractor omomaye 6,000 megawatts. Companies be a year to say 8 and also almost sign a contract be omomaye 2,116 megawatts. Companies be almost sign a 14 almost so omomaye 1,104 megawatts. So companies here NDC almost sign contract no omunyina a supply power say nyina mukaniano ebe jinaso. In time Uber press conference or say some companies be when you know my nyina mahoden e ma ye powers na doso do ama abroso mama yen kwenim me kiramo adekudie ntia MPP fo omo kan kora I was say mo pamo mo fra ban mu. Now amewu course no say no kan amewu say amewu 2 come out amewu course no o kan say mi say na amewu kan o say the over-contracting of capacity has imposed serious financial and legal obligations on governments and power consumers. This is the second page, paragraph 2. No, and I make no. To address these, the Ministry of Energy tasked a committee led by Energy Commission to review all PPAs signed by the Electricity Company of Ghana for conventional thermal power projects. The committee reviewed 26 out of 30 PPAs ECG had initiated. The other 4 were not reviewed because they were already operational. The combined generation capacity of the 26 PPAs reviewed amount to 7,838 megawatts. Almost say time mobile power no almost ECG any companies bear 30 assigning their contract. Now committee ni tina sina ekufu the T committee no omo review no omo who say 26 out of a year the 30 ni there omo ho son omo say omo check in na 30 na 30 companies na omo review no na 4 there omo start ye adwuma enti committee no form nsa nka omo na 26 na omo review omo no omo hu say 26 no ye ka omo dwumadi a omo di nyina boma na omo maye Ghana power 7,838 megawatt enti sa 26 no na committee ni ye say omo behwe omo dwumadi. In this Otiasia, Omo Beto, 30 companies are now Omo in small pieces, they were giving us power. ECG no sign contract and the NDC. Now Omo by no say Ekufuado cabinet ABA committee and na Jako Kano. Now committee international 26 out of the 30 no and Omo review and I say Omo share Omo Juma Diemu. Now sa 26 companies no inyiremukane ahoɔden na ɔmoka ɔmodwumadie nyina bom a ɔmode ma Ghana no na 7,838 megawatts. That means ɔmo maya power pa. Now the review noted that the projected capacity addition from the PPAs were far in excess of the required addition inclusive of a 20% system reserve margin from 2018 to 2030 and will result in the payment of capacity charges for the dispatched plant. Say committee de kufu ati na amewu ejako wo ho no ye hwehwe mu no hu say enyiremukane a yenya every saa 26 companies mu no na edoso do na ama enyiremukane no kura abroso enti ema hu say sebio na ye 20% bia na eno krampo no yen yusu almost say yanyinum kania to the point near 20% energy yen use ewo as spare and I'm the one saying kwai and I'm a mena woka say Burkina ye neighboring countries no na almost so omuni energy o ye betuma to bia momo but ye see that be NDC for my power too much into ye buofu sika sema wo ho ye too much inti ye pese ye terminate companies no more power no send ye be ya ye ho betoye and so excess power no na ye betuma to bi. Remember, these were the same people telling us one district, one factory. They were saying they were going to open the economy. They were going to establish more companies. Alan Kodechi Mantini MPP said, "Omubisi one district, one factory. If you want to open your industrial hub, that's what person obi a acronym. That's say nipa be company. Then you should be glad and you should be happy. Say a government left excess power because the more companies you are opening, the more energy you are supplying. And the NPP government should have been happy. Say yaba, say one district factory. Ye be so many companies. Ye nia inyirumukania. Ye nia power. So why are they worried to come meet excess power? If the policy you are bringing is a real policy that will impact the country, because the more company, more district companies you are opening, they will take their energy from your hub. Now you have excess energy. It should even encourage you to build more companies because you want to be an industrial hub. Instead, then NPP for ding say they will rather concentrate on building more companies through their one district, one factory policy to get these excess power for the companies to use for us to get more money. What was stopping the NPP government if they could not even build the one district, one factory companies around the nation? What was stopping them from selling the excess power to our neighbors who are always on our neck asking for power? Two options to the NPP. They refused to use those two. There were two options that were clear, good options, and NPP abano could use because excess power and the what one district, one factory, be more companies, we use more machines, we have excess power. Because if you don't have enough power and you invest a lot in industrialization, in opening companies, your big power now, it will shut down. The reason Ghana called doom someone, na Ghana move na companies iba Ghana, into na your energy capacity could not hold the expansion of our economy. Sibia na ye kro no mu bie, sibia na indwuma ba mu no ene na de pressure beto akosomo so ema ye ko dumsom. Nti so obi etumi aba na the too much energy and excess aba, then a government coming in talking about one district, one factory should be happy and excited. It should encourage the government to be building more factories so that we could translate or transfer the excess power into the country, into those industries to generate money. So the NPP government has two options. One was immediate and one was in the long term. Yanka said factories, it took some time to build, so it's a long term. But the immediate term, I say the closest was for them to offload or sell the excess power to make money for Ghana. But they did not do that. Now, I'm sure I DBC. In time, we also buy ever confirm it. Ghana for say, Sebio, what we are seeing, it is a DBA omu bida. They want to cancel the contract. Now, also see me but show be a danger no. Ejako eka cabinet asem, right? It went to cabinet, ekufu adu G2 on Ejako no hobby, and this happened. Now, after Amewu, yes, I know my we no. So I go back, I go check where this thing started from. Ejako ka cabinet, and a free cabinet no. A committee ekufu adu tie no. Committee ni eden, committee ni pension mo ye review, e come attorney general. And na eden, Ejako no kasa committee no, and na cabinet ho. Now, from there, a hot and nkosi stop Ejako. Ni ebuse Ejako say, when you were fired, what did you know? What happened for you to be fired? And the kudientia, as we speak today, a year this issue should be hanged on the neck of the attorney general. And the Ejako say, Boachi Ejako, before he was fired, he knew exactly what Ekufuado was doing. And what did he know? Boachi Ejako granted an interview in the catcher say, time Ekufuado ete sa committee in say review 26 companies, It was the same time and Ekufuado ehu se Boakye Jaku hu se Gabi Ochredako enso ate a committee almost so the same job cabinet committee ate no eso ye mokai mebo video natural Ejago ka kire say so at that point Ekufuado etwo ebie committee say omonhwehwe 626 no na the same Ekufuado aka kire Gabi Ochredako say Gabi Ochredako so nti committee no mo so the same job government committee ne ye. Now Ejaku knew that what Gabi was doing or Ekufuado was doing was a crime. Do you know how he got to know? Because Ejaku catch say on tape say na ote play the more or kwa bruchiri and na Gabi Ochredako friend or phone so catch and say dear all ye now no swati the committee the aban ye no or Jini said nanado danko Ekufuado anima na. So when Ejaku was fired from the office, he knew say there was some criminality happening. Ask yourself, why didn't Ejaku tell Ghanaians there? Say the reason why I'm being fired is because that committee na set no Ekufuado ama Gabi are setting the same committee and almost try to negotiate with the 26 companies behind the scenes to cut some deals, but the companies are not agreeing. Into Ejaku when he stepped out of office, he could have done us good by organizing a press conference to tell Ghana for say the reason why this is happening and the reason why I think that there's going to be judgment debt is because what the government has set up. I had the committee to review the 26. Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo had gone behind Ghana to contract Gabi Ochredako and his group of people to also set up a committee and negotiate with the same companies Ghana we are negotiating with and they are also negotiating with. So Gabi Ochredako, they were setting up a deal with the companies that the companies didn't want to do. Into what happened was say Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo die bufuo and the Pamu Ejaku, if you said Ejaku was telling the companies say they should not agree to Gabi Ochredako any Akufo-Addo criminality na on person no. Into so stedia when that review was happening at time President Akufo-Addo said committee nimfa omo report and comma attorney general no, you saw say there was a statement Ejaku wrote a letter to Gloria Akufo. Gloria Akufo snaps Boakye Jaku directive not to terminate GPGC contract. And Ejaku echo letter ma Attorney General say committee na Akufo-Addo ate report from the abrel no. Sa report mean support it. If we say report no encourage you say yen cancel contract no na the problem beba. If we say one can't check Gloria no him say Gabi a deal behind him. Enti tema sa letter no kodru Gloria Akufo no and na Gloria Akufo so extroma Ejaku kache Ejaku say me na me ye Attorney General. In fact, I think say committee in report Akufo-Addo set up no, she agrees with them. They should go ahead and cancel the contract. Ejaku is the sector minister. He could have stopped it and said no, I will not sign it. Because Ejaku from day one knew say Akufo-Addo behind Ghana government had told Gabi to set up a committee. All this while Gabi had confronted Ejaku to tell him say Akufo-Addo knows about what I am doing. Now Mumientie Boakye Jaku, then you understand what I'm talking about.
You were advised to resign.
Asked to
resign. What was the reason?
Well, it was all over. Sometimes, I just wash it off my back. It was all over Mary. So over Kaya, you were position. Ya Mary who did the pa. In fact, not contract, and yet. Yeah, say, ya ba power. You be chip.
Okay.
Ghana 40, ya say, omri 2 million shares. You call your first early cabinet meetings. And a president, a my written instruction, cabinet instructions, so the enyano, cabinet secretary tro. Say, a Mary, yanko ni yinkuchep. Timmy Frere, Attorney General's Department, Energy Commission, Ministry of Finance, one more stakeholders. You could transfer a contract. There was a contract which you.
I'm married, you know.
Yachichiri yen segu yechi. Abuya bra yusu. For example, investment near 520 million. Uchamu penalties near dia ubetia 680 million. Uko ya now by
680 million.
More than the investment of the Uchamu. Now Ucham you know 680 million. No more sa tase on equipment ediako. Tuchamu nyi. You be report to my cabinet. Then cabinet says any among renegotiate. America so no more can say they are willing to renegotiate. So Obekaya Samren so na Honorable KT Hammond.
Yeah.
Or the emotion of rescission. Echo Parliament. Say America no be try and throw chire wo Parliament. Enti no more approval power purchase agreement. Enti
Judgement FM 107.3
na sign na itwem eno da ho ema ye free ye nyina eco parliamentary committee on mines and energy ye kodi adanse eno nanche president no ati committee headed by lawyer
Philip
Addison,
okay,
and assisted by lawyer Vicky Bright. Say, yanko na ye ni yanko ye renegotiation. Committee a yeti ye no, wache jako menka ho.
Committee na moko ye renegotiation no.
Menka ho.
Sector minister nka ho.
Debi.
Why?
Papa, die otimi ho no. Owro oka wa for wabeti. Papa, or president, and also what committee, and also one can what didn't you could you don't have that right. He is the president.
Exactly.
What in a committee of 18 men can and I share what you must say. One of the instructions was that America nan kasade me and your muni bibia yen cha almost sukra. Nemo a company called Metka omune operating machines. Omumu any negotiations. Ya preso. Committee the year almost small selection. Say omun call Dubai to start the negotiation. Omu koi Addison numdi kan koi. Omu koi no first day there. Na aya basako yes resre second day na ase mood ni sesa third day na Arabs ni kan say won free kromongo crow for also started a produce documents a trace cinema committee bin kan ya set a committee terms of reference omo ye omo adwuma na ansa na we nyina eba me who yan come the two documents be by. Yura Gabi Ochredako. Ni Facebook. No a true be bitin. Say me so ni majuma. Gabi. Na president na me pedi. Na me share be free Akufo-Addo ho. Or no, even though no president didn't or Kufuor.
Okay.
And to me so me share Akufo-Addo example. Na menhwe so nyemadwuma ase na Manase Azure ono so be postal say the Gabi kanu ye nokre enti yenyimedi.
Okay.
This was in July. Man carry Weina ye dia kono ye ba ye ko ye ba na me ko conference bi o Houston. Energy, oil and gas conference we used. Me Kodru airport.
Judgement FM.
Emails. Gabi Ochredako.
Okay.
Ne complain is our try so be fremiana. Me fino. Na didn't na ono fremia. Na me say masa me play me in course. Oh, I didn't know that. Anyway, was sending me documents.
Asantaman FM 107.3.
We threw me hotel, and I may be a document.
Asantaman FM.
Say, committee president Ate, Omu yo Judgement. Gabi so, akofa another law firm. Any woman negotiations for. Omu negotiations for. And omu negotiations. And what send me contractor or no Crawford akoyen.
Gabi ochira konen and Crawford akoye.
Akoyen.
So utie ejakwa. Sa committee no omu review 26 companies. Na Ameri wom na G na sa enkofo we omu dia kwa UK. Akoji $140 million no mu nyina wo mu. Enti committee na oka no. Sa committee na review Ameri a review GCGC4 so dey sa committee ba ko de kufuaro te ye na Osama Gabi te another one no ana omo eye omo djuma no sa committee na review Ameri ni all these things into the ejako kachre no he was just singling out Ameri there no but in there no so na sankofo yo makoje $140 million no they were in there almost so company no not the same committee was reviewing it was all tia say 26 companies are Ekufuado ka say wakofa energy commission for executive so amontina no 18-member committee no na Ekufuado Osama Gabi and so setting up a committee they were signing contracts with the same companies we were reviewing their documents. Now the problem here is who ejako you knew this. You knew that there was a criminality a Gabi Ekufuado Koso as the sector minister. You knew it. The guy confirmed Ekachira will say DNH said the ono a signing contract with the same energy companies we are trying to deal with, DNH will say Ekufuado does not know about it. I'll play the video for you to hear. Ejako should have stopped there. The day Ejako was fired, he was supposed to come out and say, Ghanaians, me person save more. There is some criminality going on because the reason why Pamo Ejako and say Ejako had written to the Attorney General to tell the Attorney General that she should not advise say the contract of the Omodiako UK $140 million, she should not agree to it. But Gabi Ochedako them, they have found a way from the Ekufuado to force Attorney General Gloria to say yes, go ahead and cancel. Now, Ekufuado wanted a way to deal with a Gabi committee and the companies behind the scenes. The 18-man committee in just a smoke screen. The only person who was a hindrance was Ejako. That is why Ekufuado fired Ejako. Now Ejako ye nipa boni ono so ye kromfo nti Ejako could not sit or open his mouth to tell us say the reason why I believe I've been sacked and say Gabi Ochedako Ekufuado man set up a committee. They are signing company a contract behind the government. And no na Ejako beka kire ye say when the dust settles because no president did. He was scared to say so ti Ekufuado to na omaya tia says Ekufuado any Gabi as set up a committee almost sign a contractor MPP for bubufuno omonto manu president and nintina we kept asking Ejako say what really happened for you to be fired or say when the dust settles inti asama yeka we nyina no the person who has done us a lot of harm Ejako the persons are omo asem we also face crime omo face court Gabi Ochedako Boache Jako, Ekufuado, and the Attorney General. Currently, we have. With all due respect, I'll be right back.
Begin constructing 88 hospitals in the districts without hospitals. It will mean 10 in Ashanti.
And omu negotiations. And what send me contractor or no Crawford akoyen.
Gabi ochira konen and Crawford akoye.
Akoyen. And I may be sad say, Papa, on what authority and what could this Judgement? Because me minister cabinet among instructions. Ye did cabinet instructions. Into dear panty and a war fetch akoye sadiwe. Now in any case, I said say I only take my instructions from the president. Mailer response or demand and say, what makes you think you're my boss? What makes you think say your boss doesn't know about this? Anti and a war fetch akoye sadiwe. Now in any case, I said say I only take my instructions from the president. Mailer response or demand and say, what makes you think you're my boss? What makes you think say your boss doesn't know about this? And I'm a calm too.
Inti Ejako Gabi catcher clearly say Ekufuado na catcher me Gabi say mean setting up my own office and sign contracts with the same companies you, the committee, you are reviewing. Ejako knew this. Ne Ejako knew we. Ejako could have saved Ghana this $140 million. If Ejako had come out as a patriotic Ghanaian to tell Ghana for say, hey, I've been fired, but I want to tell you what is happening. Ejako ye nipa bonini. Ekufuado ye nipa bonini. Gabi ye nipa bonini a MPP for ye nipa boni for. Godfrey Dame so be shame a ono so boa no. What happened was that he kept quiet. And he kept quiet for Ghana to go through hell. And Nintina Kobra Donkoka said, you Ejako, you need to answer questions because you knew that from day one a crime was being committed. You knew it. It wasn't like you heard it all. You knew it. Because Gabi had told you on phone, say the president is making him do that. But Ejako, Ekufuado Pamono, because of his greed, one can want some. And the $140 million now, yeah, Kwako Ejako as a former energy minister, and Kobetuma stop the way. Gabi Ochidako committed crime in the name of Ghana. Gabi Ochidako is a criminal. I was saying, Nipo, your chin and your chanichi, or your cronfo ye. Ejako, you knew. Now, what is more disheartening about this whole thing? And I say, after the whole thing is serious, Attorney General Godfrey Dame, instead of Godfrey Dame to say, from what we are seeing, we have to do what? We have to recall this contract because timer a year Ejako throw letter Ekoma Gloria Kufuno. Because Gloria Kufu didn't want to go against Ekufuado's that stiff anger toward Ekufuado Behanono or my alternatives. Or catch say, Boache Jako, I am agreeing to, or I am advising them to do what? Go ahead and cancel the contract. Nanso, say Ghana, any SAR company, when they come together and sit, there is still another way they can renegotiate. It can go back to government for parliament to do what? For government to sign, for cabinet to sign, for parliament to pass. Internet Gloria Kufu Sakachi Ejako say Ejako. Even though I am advising say this can be cancelled, there's also another option. In think Godfrey Dame bar office, what Godfrey Dame should have done was that Godfrey Dame should have said, hey, this decision is wrong. Why don't we take this whole thing back? Why don't we resit with these people and negotiate? And negotiation, about gentleman's negotiation, we will not end up causing financial loss to the state. But when Godfrey Dame came, even though he had these two options to do what? To take, he ignored it and went ahead and confirmed the cancellation. Godfrey Dame, after making sure the cancellation is completed, he refused to go to court 2021. The first time a company we call UK say, Omudiyako court. Godfrey Dame, because he knew the Gabiaye, the Ekufuado, he didn't even go to court. They were calling the case in the UK. Godfrey Dame said COVID-19 into Ontumin court. The judge was sitting. The court was sitting. They were calling Ghana, come and tell us your part of the story. Godfrey Dame was in Ghana because Gabi Ochidako had told him don't move. Ekufuado had told him don't move. Those people, they can go and take whatever money they want to take. Do you know that company that went to the UK to win that 140 million, the person who owns the company is related to Akufo-Addo? Do you know? You have no idea, right? Inti Godfred Dame stood in Ghana, sat in Ghana, waited for the case to almost die, because not almost per se you lose the case, Because if we had not lost that case, if Godfred Dame had brought the people back to the table as the Attorney General and forced the minister then, Amewu, and also cabinet to renegotiate with the people, what would have happened is say Gabi Ochida could deals now was signing behind, it wouldn't be possible, because at that point, Gabi had already signed contract. Akufo-Addo Amana signed a contract. The moment you bring these people back to go and renegotiate for cabinet to endorse, for parliament to pass, then the contract that Gabi signed behind the scenes, what do we do with it? Indeed, what Godfred Dame did was that he looked on and he acted as if, say, in court 2021 is nothing. He knew we were going to lose the case. He knew there was going to be judgment debt. He knew that we were committing a crime. But as an Attorney General, he closed his eyes and he was fooling in Ghana. So these people went to UK. Our Attorney General knew Godfred Dame. The President knew. Gabi Ochidako knew the crime they had committed. They only wanted the people to go and take the money, because if the people come back to the table to negotiate, renegotiate, Gabi will be exposed. But nipa waya bone. Nipa yenfa ne bone entumi nche eye Boakye Jaku. Because the day Boakye Jaku was fired, if he had come out to say, this is what I know, this is what I know. In fact, I have spoken to Gabi. He said, this is what has happened now. And this whole thing will not happen, because immediate conveyance of parliament would have happened. And this whole thing would have brought it back. So we need to understand. Say, Boakye Jaku did us more harm. Attorney General Godfred Dame did us more harm, because who steady Boakye Jaku chokoma Glory Kufu. Now Glory Kufu responded to Attorney Boakye Jaku on this same cancellation of the deal. Muntie Adsama Glory Kufu listen to Glory Kufu. Say no kanye, because she was not comfortable with it. And you have to understand, like advice from Attorney General is not binding. You can choose to ignore the advice. And Nuntina Glory Kufu, all the advice Nema Abain said, you can go ahead and cancel. She still gave another or two options for the government, because she didn't want to commit to one, because her decision or her advice wasn't binding. So it was up to the sector minister to make that decision that, you know what, even though the Attorney General has advised that we could go ahead and cancel, me as a sector minister, I believe we should bring these people back to the renegotiation table and renegotiate this. But Boakye Jaku did not do that. And then when Godfred Dame came, he did not also look at the other alternatives or options, because Gabi and Akufo-Addo brought him to cover up their crimes. In this Gloria Akufo response to Ejaku, Tamana officer, Ejaku Trokoman say he's not comfortable with that cancellation of contract now. This is what Gloria Akufo said, and I'm going to read that part to you. A letter dated 12 April 2018, Mr. Boakye Jaku wrote to the then Attorney General, Madam Gloria Akufo, said, and I quote, "As you are aware, the Ministry of Energy, by a letter dated 13th February 2018, terminated the emergency power agreement between the government of Ghana and the GPGC Limited, dated June 3, 2015. This follows cabinet approval of the recommendation of the Power Purchasing Agreement Review Committee as reviewed by the Attorney General's office." Now, this is what he said, and I quote, "In its response dated 26 February 2018, GPGC rejected the basis for our termination and insisted that the government of Ghana continues to fulfill its obligation under the EPA. Even after we cancel deal, the company was saying, your basis for cancelling the deal is not right. So it was an opportunity for the government and the ministry to call the people back to the table and say, then let's renegotiate. So there was an option to renegotiate. Now, when you go further, it says this. It appears from their letter that GPGC has continued with the development of the project. Now, me read Glory Kufu response. And I quote, after careful consideration, the ministry is contemplating the deferment of the project rather than its termination, because it appears the termination of the EPA may prove costly to the government of Ghana than was originally anticipated. It was Jaco say the ministry who had no say no, say cancel a bad problem. Ye for tabron to so na yan hwese e betumi o maka na bibia akoye se de be ya Ghana for yendeka. Ena na oka kire eye Gloria Kufu nti ono na oka kire Gloria Kufu say memma ne endorse this, memma ne ma advice say yen cancel. Now you go ahead. This is what Boache Jaku says. It is expected that the GPGC will be called back to the negotiation table to discuss the terms of the deferment, and in no process attempts will be made to obtain terms other than those currently contained in the EPC. Intina Boache Jaku say there was an option to call the people back. Why didn't he take the decision? Why didn't he go ahead as a minister, go to parliament to say, I am against this? Why didn't he communicate this to Ghanaians? He kept it to himself. Now, Utie Gloria Ekufu, the Attorney General's response, Attorney General knew Ekufu was pressurizing her to do this. Now, she didn't want to commit to anything. Even in her advice, she still gave Boache Jaku, the government, cabinet, an option they could have taken. Now, Muntie Gloria Kufu response, no, because she did not stay at one place. In her response, she created windows that government of Ghana can take to save us from incurring this $140 million cost. So this is what Gloria Kufu said to Eye Ejaku. Now, when you read Gloria's response, it says, in a response to this letter was another letter dated 11 June 2018 and cited by Madam Gloria Kufu. This is what the Attorney General said. It said, and reference is made to your letter numbered ZA blah 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 10 dated 12 April 2018, requesting the advice of the Attorney General on the ministry decision to negotiate for the deferment and for better terms of the above mentioned emergency power agreement. And I quote, we are of the opinion that the agreement having been abrogated cannot be negotiated for improved terms as it is no longer in existence. Gloria Kufu said, from the Omo this agreement cannot be renegotiated. Or say, it looked more like, say, the cabinet and the committee had already made a decision. Now, the committee doesn't have more power than the minister or the ministry. Can't the minister take a decision and tell the president that I do not agree to this? Can the minister find his way to Parliament to say this particular thing the cabinet is pushing through, I don't agree because in the future we are going to incur costs? Gloria Kufu say, we are of the opinion that the agreement having been abrogated cannot be negotiated for improved terms as it's no longer in existence. The parties may, however, Gloria Kufu will create a window amamo. Wakachira will say, even though the president is forcing this to happen, she knows a lot. She knows Gabi is doing this. She knows Ekufuor is doing this. But because she wanted to save us, or say, we are of the opinion that, or say, the parties may, however, negotiate another agreement which must be submitted to Parliament or to Cabinet for approval. You may revert to us if you require any further clarification. Gloria Kufu Jaco said, even though the contract has been cancelled now, there's still another option. You people can call the party or the company back to the table, renegotiate, take it back to cabinet. Cabinet can sign, take it to Parliament for it to be sanctioned. So Gloria Kufuka said, this is not a dead end. There is still an option to move forward. So take that option as the minister. What can you do? You need to do something. And Intinoka say, take this option. When you take this option, I am still here to give you advice on what to do. Because as we speak, the contract has been cancelled. And as an Attorney General, I can advise. And what I'm seeing, it's fine. But you still have another option. You can do what? Bring the people back to the table, renegotiate the thing, and then make sure cabinet signs it, and then come to me for advice, and then Parliament will move it. So why didn't Ejaku take that decision? Even though he knew Gabi was doing this, Ekufuor had set up a small screen cabinet committee, he knew they were committing a crime, but he kept quiet. Even after he was fired, he was still quiet. Inti, when you study the whole thing, nipa waye ya bro eye Boache Jaku. Now, when Gloria Kufu resigned because of all this, yet Godfrey Dame, when he came into office, what was he supposed to do? Say Godfrey Dame was working in our favor. He could have also taken that option, because when Gloria Kufu was writing, Godfrey Dame was Gloria Kufu's deputy. So he knew about this. He knew that if I'm given the opportunity, I need to correct this. Whoever is the minister, I can talk to the minister and say, you can still renegotiate this. But Godfrey Dame kept quiet. He ignored it. Even when the people went to court in the UK, he did not go. He was complaining and he was giving an excuse to say COVID-19 about to me in court. Because he knew, say, Gabi has signed a contract behind the scenes with some of the companies. He knew, say, Ekufuado was the mastermind of that committee or contract Gabi was signing, and he's working for them. So he kept quiet. He made sure the people will win the case. Senebeya, Gabi will not be exposed. Ekufuado will not be exposed. So this is an inside job. Now you understand it. 140 million way, they have a share in it. I'm telling you. Ekufuado, Gabi, Attorney General Godfrey Dame, they have a share in this money. And they still have been able to take money from us, because the 26 companies, behind the scenes, who is Gabi Ochedakun to be signing contracts in the name of Ghana? That is the question. At least the sector minister has come out to tell us, say, Gabi Freno, he has a document to prove, say, Gabi was signing contract. Who the hell is this fool to be signing contract in our name? Today, we have incurred $140 million. Who is going to pay? A enemy. This is the time to understand. NPP, when they come in the form of a dog, when they come in the form of a pig, when they come in the form of an elephant, anything that is got to do with NPP, irrespective of Nipa or Diomenim, never vote for them. They need to face the law. They are thieves. Omo ya kromfo, omo ye wifo, omo fa ye say ye Jimmy. This is a national service. Ghana Nibia, if you vote for NPP, now I baby count. We need to let these people understand. I'll say Dioma bro by voting against them and dragging them in the mud. This is not a joke. Into $140 million, wa wuti mankesim jom, wa wuti kotokraba, wa wuti narulugu, wa wuti savlugu, wa wuti northern way. We are the ones going to pay. These fools have made money out of us, and they have incurred a cost that we will be taking care of. Why should we endure this? What kind of foolishness is this? We need to make something happen. The NPP is bad news. They are a disease of a political party. They are made up of criminals, killers, murderers. They came to destroy, steal, and kill us. It's about time we, the people, rose up and fought these people through the ballot. NPP is bad news. And this is my message to Ghanaians. You're still watching. With all due respect, Extraversion. After this short break, I'll be back to pick calls quickly.
The NPP cannot be underestimated. You know it, I know it. They've been in existence for a long time and have been changing their names up till this day. The nature of who they are. Listen. Munjir, the nature of who they are, what they are, where they've come from, is something they are happy with, and they will be there for a long time. Let's not mimic their behavior. Let us reach into the principles and the values that emerged out of the circumstances that gave birth to us. And if we can hold onto those principles and those values, we will move way into the future and no one can ever defeat us.
Eti for channel a ohwe video we wo so PENDREAM TV mpacho wahwe wi adwuntwa bia wo fa video yi no ho bia no send man e wo 0277128777 0277128777 WhatsApp number no send your voice ne bra na bebo magana fo nyina te wonka
dedi kama mamena PENDREAM TV ase na so far so good say open online portal e wo Ghana nipa share nipa follow nipa comment here to my best of knowledge without any biases PENDREAM TV.